kind of like service experience do you have? Like bartender, serving? What all
Okay,
did
I'll
you
start
do?
from the beginning. So I started
Yeah,
first serving job. I worked at Olive Garden for 3 years.
nice.
And then
Okay,
I went to IU, so I worked at sports for the longest time
nice. All right.
down there, and then came to Indy, worked at Tiki Bob's for a little bit, helped
Mm-hmm.
open Revel, then worked at the Pavilion, and I've served at Taxman and Fox Garden as well.
Holy shit! Which
So
Fox
yeah,
Garden?
so Fox Garden family off Olio.
No way. I used to
Yeah.
go in there all the time.
So now
Uh,
I'm still on the schedule. They ask me to help out every once in a while, so I'll still do it like every couple months, every couple weeks whenever they need help.
yeah,
But it's not as often as it used to be.
that's wild. Well, maybe I'll see you in there sometime. It's funny. My son got, I don't know what it is. It was something about the fries gave him a stomach ache, and I love the fries. I think they're amazing.
Yeah.
And so like ever since he had a real bad stomach ache one day, we haven't been in there
Then
since
yeah.
because he freaks every time we go there. But I
Oh.
love the beer cheese soup. It's like my
Oh
favorite
yeah.
soup ever.
It's so good.
That's awesome. Well, so you've done a little bit of everything, right? That's kind of
Yeah. So I've
you're the
served. Yeah.
perfect person to talk to.
Thanks.
Yeah. He must have heard me say his name and he comes down here. Go eat, dude. Tell Kendall to hook you up. I ordered some food and set it in front of him before I came down here, and he was like, "I'm not hungry now." It's like, I know exactly when he'll get hungry. It's right when we get going on this.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
So I don't know. I kind of want to get like, so the goal to all this is one, I'm trying to learn a little bit about what people think about the app, but um, that's a little selfish. The reality is it's going to be done in
Yeah.
like a week anyway. So it kind of is what it is. We've got other releases coming. I've probably got 10 features lined up
Oh, cool.
for version 2. So I'll
Yeah.
tell you all about it. But kind of what I want to do is like pick your brain on ways that maybe servers and bartenders do or don't look at themselves as a salesperson. So like my whole theory behind this whole thing is I was a fairly decent sales dude for a while, and I had all these tools that I could use to remember a client's birthday or what their favorite team was or what bottles of wine they like or if they were a golfer or they liked concerts or whatever it was. And I always got to know them, and that's how I sold. And it just hit me like many times. I used to travel around the country. I'd be by myself all the time, and I'd go into bars and restaurants and have a meal. And sometimes the server was super cool, and they would sit, chat you up a little bit, and which was cool when you're eating by yourself. And
Yeah.
then other times they were just kind of, just delivering the food and walking away. And I always thought, like, I wonder if they think about what they're doing as their commissions, and like they can affect their pay by playing the role a little bit.
Hmm.
So like, I don't know, I guess we'll start there. Like, did you ever consider yourself a salesperson, or were you more like, I'm just showing up here to bring food?
Yeah. If you want, there's my dog.
Oh, I don't think your camera's on. Is your camera
On.
on? It is.
Oh, it's not on.
No.
There. Yeah,
There you go.
my
Now
dog.
I see your dog. Nice. What's your dog's
Okay.
name?
Her name's Lady.
Of course. I
The
like it.
pit
Lady
bull.
in the Tramp or
Yeah,
just Lady?
just Lady.
Right on.
But
Like, very nice.
gotta stop. So I mean, at some points, I feel like the more I was in the industry, the more I would consider myself a salesperson. But when I was like, I would say younger, it was just a job to get through college. But the
Right.
older and the better, I would say, restaurants and bars I worked at, they really prided themselves on like, you are selling the company, you're selling yourself, which sounds terrible, but
It
um,
is. I did it too.
yeah, it's like you're selling yourself because you want these people to come back and be regulars, because regulars are the ones who tip you the most. They're the ones who are going to come in and bring you, if they saw like your favorite wine out, or if they saw something for your dog, like they're the ones that become families, especially at Fox Garden. The biggest thing was turning customers into regulars and then turning regulars into family.
Yeah, yeah. I love
And
that.
so the longer I was in the industry, it was definitely considered myself a salesperson, because I learned that the nicer you are, the better you are at getting to know people, the more they are going to tip you and the more they're going to come back and sit at your table and sit at your bar and
I
talk to you
love
more.
that. Do you think when you were younger in, in your college days or before, like, did the concept of a regular even hit?
So I think it also depends on the restaurant you're at. So being at Olive Garden, it was just kind of turn and burn, get tables in and out as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a college bar, you had your regulars, but they're your age, so it wasn't. They were using mom and dad's Amex to spend an absurdly amount of money. So I think it just depends on where you're at to develop regulars. But I feel like the right restaurant and bar management owners should have that mindset. But I think it just depends on where you're at.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I went and got a bagel and a smoothie this weekend, and the little high school kid back there was like, for the heck of it, I always just run the app idea by random, service industry people, see what they think. And she was like, "Oh my God, that would be amazing because all my high school friends are always wanting to swing in here when I'm working, and that way I don't have to send 100 texts."
Exactly.
I'm like, holy cow! Like that's a whole nother like
a 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah, they want.
Yeah.
We nicknamed it snow cone marketing because all the kids that work at Snow Cone Shock want to let their friends know when they're working.
Exactly.
Right? So then like Olive Garden, that's an interesting one because like I'm wondering, like I've been shocked at how the higher end restaurants have been interested in this, which I didn't think they would be. That's where I thought I would struggle. But I think like a place like an Olive Garden or an Applebee's or something like that, they may have such quick turnover that I wonder if there's like any regulars in there. Like I know my dad's kind of old, no offense, Dad, if you ever see this, but he likes the certain server that brings his shit right,
I think that just depends as well on like management, but at Olive Garden, I had some regulars, but I would also split my time between Indy and Bloomington. But a lot of the people who had been there 10, 20, 30 years had their regulars, but it was the older crowd, the crowd that had been since they opened, the ones that they knew get their order right every time, that doesn't have to ask if you want tea or water. It's usually the ones that have been there for years. So they're not really getting regulars from the ones who are kind of been there for 6 months or a year. It's the ones who really stuck there for a long time. But higher end restaurants, like, you're going to go back in the day, you're going to go to Prime 47 downtown and you're going to get Chris Nelson as your bartender and he knew what you wanted to drink. And it's just like those high end restaurants, like if the bartenders stay there and you become a regular, like that's perfect for them because that's how they keep their money. That's how they make money. It's how they can stay doing the same thing and make that a career because they have those regulars.
I love it. What happens if you go in there and a place like that or like Prime 47 and Chris isn't behind the bar? How do you feel? Like,
I mean,
it kind of sucks, but it kind of like you roll with it.
Being in the service industry, I feel like at a place like that, they hire the highest quality people. So everyone's going to give you that high end service.
What about, like being that you've been in the service industry so much, do you feel like if you were to go to, I don't know, Dallas next week and go out to dinner and whatnot, and you get sort of they don't know you're a server, they don't know you're in the service industry. Do you feel like it's kind of cool when you guys share a bond, when you know each other is in the industry, or does it matter at all? Like, would it be kind of cool to know that the person that, you're sitting with or sitting with you or whatever is in the service industry as well?
That is kind of a catch-22. It is cool to have that bond, but also I've noticed sometimes that some servers and bartenders are almost lazier when somebody is they understand that we're way more forgiving than your regular customer. We get that things take a little bit longer. So I sometimes feel like they're a little bit
they could take this
slower
one
or lazy.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That'll have to be an option. Make sure that's a checkbox.
Like, I do like letting people know that like I'm pretty like, hey, I've been a server, but also it's kind of sometimes I've had people like, I'm a server too, so this is how it should be done, and they've got an attitude almost about it.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
So it just kind of depends because they're like, oh, I'm a server and this should be done right. Or especially when I used to work at Kilroy's, you'd be like, this is how an AMF is made. I'm like, no, it's not. Not at
Right.
all. Your
Right.
22-year-old asshole is not how it's supposed to be made. So it just
Right.
depends on their personality as a person, I would say.
You made me think of something. Like, what are some like shitty customer stories that you would love to that you would be willing to tell? You don't have to name any names, but that like make you want to dodge somebody forever. You know what I mean? Like
So I
never.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. When I worked at Rebel, it was like, I don't know, it was pretty late. And he was pretty hammered, but he wasn't drunk enough to where I had to cut him off. He did one more and he could get cut off. So I made him, will be forever ingrained in my memory. Made him a rum and Coke. He drinks it, walks away from the bar, comes back, and somebody had left a Jack and Coke in the bar. So he drinks it and he's like, this isn't my fucking drink. And I was like, yeah, I know it's not your drink because you took your drink away. So at that point, we had glass cups. He cocks back and launches it out. He threw it at me. It passes right by me, hits the cooler behind me. And so at that point, I'm real feisty. Back in the day, I was pretty bad. So I cooler and like tried to tackle him.
Oh my gosh. I would have loved to have seen that.
So I got pulled back from, I don't know, you probably met Lucas. So Lucas pulled me down, and then Serena, who used to work, they both pulled me down. But yeah, that was my worst story from a customer. Wow.
Yeah, that's needless to say, that's a dodge the person forever kind of. Because I would have loved to have seen you fly over a cooler like a spider monkey or something.
Impressive. I was impressed with myself, but I'll never forget that.
All that working out paying off.
Right.
That's awesome. All right.
Like,
so what about like, let's take it down a notch and not have like, maybe not somebody that's throwing stuff at you. Like, but are there shitty customers that come in and you just know they're not going to tip and you get stuck with them anyway? Like, yes. I like what I can't figure out. I want to understand that, because I think maybe it's just my personality, and my sister was a server when I was a kid. So like, it's been ingrained in my head since I was a kid, right? To just take care of your server, be kind, all that sort of thing. But like, what goes through somebody's mind that's not going to leave a tip or leaves, $1 on $100 tab or whatever it is?
It's usually generational.
You think so? All right.
It is. Sometimes the older crowd. Sometimes people just feel entitled, like they shouldn't give you a tip, no matter how great of service you give them. That's just not how they were raised.
Wow.
I would say, but that's also catch-22. Is like sometimes you give them the best service in the world and they leave you 5 on 100, and you're like, okay, I literally didn't do anything wrong. So what was like the reasoning?
I think some of it too, there's definitely the generational thing, and the people, it's their job. It's not my job to pay their salary people. That's the one that drives me bonkers. And then I think there's some people that just think a 5 is the tip. It's like almost regardless of the size of the bill, they're going to leave a $5 bill. And that's just also ignorance.
That you're tipping out your bartender, you're tipping out your busser, you're tipping out the host, and most people don't realize that unless you've been in the industry, that you may tip me $5 or $10, but $3 out of that is going to somebody else, or $2 out of that's going to other people. They don't realize that.
And you show up sometimes and come to work, and your $2, hourly wage you don't get it because of taxes, and you don't even have enough money to pay for parking at the end of the night if you don't get decent tips.
Yep. I don't think I've ever seen a paycheck bartending or like serving or bartending.
That's unbelievable.
I think, when I worked at Revel, I'd help do marketing. So I did get like hourly pay during the week. That's probably the only time I saw a paycheck.
Wild. Yeah, I don't think that people quite grasp that for the most part, What do you think would be like, if part of the goal of all this, and then I guess I'll tell you about it. I wish I could I can't figure out how to make my phone pop up on the screen. I'll figure it out at some point, but what do you think if I'm trying to help people like change their mindset about turning themselves into a salesperson? some people just aren't going to do it. They're not salespeople. But some people, I think, just don't think of that job as a sales oriented job. Like, is there anything you could point to that would like help people like start to think that way or realize that? Or is it like a math thing, or is it just something they have to have in them?
I think it almost is something you have to have in you. That's why most people that leave bartending and serving go to sales or go to talent acquisition, which is the route I took.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's mostly, but I think it'll speak for itself is that when people start to get like garner those more of those regulars, they're going to realize that like there's something I'm doing to get these regulars, and it's like it's selling myself, it's selling the food. I think it's just going to have to kind of speak for itself that
Mm-hmm.
people aren't selling themselves, aren't going to keep getting those regulars if they've been there for a while, especially if they've got help to get regulars and to continuously have regulars that know when they're working. If they're not going to get that, but I almost think you have to have it in you. That's where the best servers and bartenders come from.
Yeah, you just got to find a way to be comfortable in your own skin and roll with it. So that like, if there's different tables, so let's say you got, you know, a table of old dudes in there that are watching sports. You got some older ladies, you know, some grandmas hanging out, some high school kids, which I know can be dreaded, like all kinds of different, like, do you try and adapt to the table, or do you just kind of roll with how you are, and just kind of put your personality out there?
That's a good question. I am unapologetically me most of the time.
Right.
So I would say but also I can be a sports watching, like, what the fuck's going on? What the
Right.
fuck are the Cowboys going to grandma and talking about, like, a Danielle Steele book that my grandma
Yeah.
reads.
You love her brooch. And he's like,
Yeah, and
right.
or like what movie they're going to see later, or are they going to prom, or like, so it's you have to be yourself, but you also have to find a way to relate to everybody.
Right.
I think that's the thing too, is that you have to find a way to relate to all types of people. And that's why I went the talent acquisition route too, is because
Yeah.
I'm good at something to relate to everybody with.
I love that. I think that's the key. That's the key. That's been the key to sales for me.
Uh-huh.
Is like, I may not treat the super fancy orchestra loving partner at a law firm the same way that I'm going to treat the young, you know, paralegal that likes to down a 6-pack of beer before work, kind of thing. Like, completely different people, and I got to play the role. So I think that's encouraging. I think that's missing quite a bit in a lot of the service industry, is like many of them just want to bring a plate, right? This is all I do.
And yeah, it's a lot of times, like, if you're getting through college, you just want the cash. You're not here
Right.
to make friends. You're not here to make regulars.
It's not a career that you're just wanting some cash in your hand for the night.
Exactly. But when you're good at it, you realize that, like, now I can go back to it. Hi.
I love it.
She
This is my
so
second dog. This is my second dog interview. This is going to be a new theme. I love it.
But I think I realized too that when you're good at it, you can just go back to it constantly. So like anytime that if I'm laid off or something happens, I could always go back to serving because I know I'm good at it.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think the like the servers will play nice in, like, one of the things I wonder about is if one person uses an app to get more customers in there and they're having success, are they in the general, I know it's different in every place and every, you know, relationship, but are they willing to usually share that? Or do you think it's a sales advantage and they want to keep it to themselves?
Also, I think it depends on who it is. Like the people who are trainers who are already used to training new people on how to do stuff and used to training others will share it. But also it's kind of a dog eat dog industry to where like, you're not good at this, like, sorry, I am, and I'm gonna if you can't make your money, that's your problem.
I love it. I kind of feel like that's, you know, there's certain places where little cliques, so like Kilroy's, there may be like 3 or 4 of the servers that get together and they're sharing and helping each other out, and then there might be a couple that are out, you know, those chicks can't get it, whatever. Well, I'll tell you a few things that it does, and you can be, you know, ask any questions you want about this or anything, but like, honest feedback. If you think it's good or bad, or you have ideas, I'm open to all those. Like I said, there's a million things that it does and a bunch of stuff coming in the next release. So I probably won't be able to get to all of it, but generally the idea is that as a server, a bartender, a barista, a DJ, that was really an add-on. A chef.
I like the DJ thing's cool.
Yeah, so like if a DJ or a band or whatever wanted to get themselves out there for playing somewhere tonight, and people can see that they're playing right now tonight all in one place, but that'll make more sense here in a second. You can put your schedule out there. Look, she's like she wants to be famous. She wants to be on camera.
So needy.
You need to put her in some like doggy acting or something like that. Get her in.
So I just rescued her in January. She's in a really bad situation. She was tied up to a truck on an electrical cord with no food or water. She was confiscated by IMPD. So we're still working through like training. She's got the basic training, but she's older. She's like 10. So we're just slowly introducing her to like having a comfortable home and like being a normal dog and being out in public on a leash. And so eventually she would probably be good at that, but I don't want to overwhelm her.
Yeah, baby steps. My nephew is helping me do a lot of this, and he decided to take my sister's dog, and I didn't realize until the dogs can have anxiety.
Oh, she has it. She gets separation.
That's how Cooper is. And luckily Dakota, my nephew, was kind of Coop's favorite, but he's a van lifer now. Wow. So Cooper and Dakota are on the road in the van, and it seems like it's going pretty well. I think Cooper's on some CBD oil and whatnot, but he's doing fine. So what you'll be able to do is you can put your schedule in there, daily, weekly, monthly. You can flip a switch that says I'm working now, or I'm off work now, or whatever. And the schedule will display in a map that the customers can see who's working around them right now. So if I'm deciding if I want to go out to dinner tonight, I can pull up the map right now and it'll show me all the servers that are working tonight, tomorrow, the next day, whatever, in Fishers around me. And it'll have, when you tap on their card, their profile, whatever, it'll take you to their full schedule, pictures. Think of like an Instagram or a LinkedIn. And you can flip through and kind of get an idea who that server is, what their bio's like, what they're interested in, like, and then you can connect with them. So follow them so you know their schedule all the time. You can message them, you can tip them. There's all the privacy settings of an Instagram and that sort of thing. So if there's creeps and weirdos out there, you can block them, you can report them. You cannot be public, you can be private. One of the cool features that is kind of neat is if there's a broadcast and a regular messaging type of feature. So if you have a group of people that comes into Kilroy's every Wednesday, for every Wednesday night, this group is always in there. You could throw them in or group them however you want. You can send a broadcast message to the whole group, and it comes back and forth in just like individual messages. So it looks like you're getting direct messages and they're getting a direct message from you, but it's really a group message.
You're crazy. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the pictures thing. That way they can like figure out who you are as a person and like what you like to do. If you like hiking, they can find someone to talk to hiking about, or if you like art
100%. Yeah. Let's find some commonality. Plus, I feel like, if you go onto like a Yelp, the pictures are either super done up fake pictures of the food that you'll never have the food look like that, or they're an angry customer that doesn't give a shit. And there's really not much in the middle.
There's no real honest answer of someone who is happy but is not a food photographer.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like people are going to take pride. You're going to take pride in putting the pictures that you want out there. You're going to take a decent picture of the cheeseburger. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be fake, but it'll be, a decent representation of what it is. And then most of them are going to be of you and what you're doing and that sort of thing.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. I think like the messaging and the searching is kind of cool. So like you can search by hashtags and venues and you name it, anything you want to search by to figure out who you want to sit with, which is kind of cool. I think like, so deciding, if you're not working today, I may choose to not go to Fox Garden, and I'll go, tomorrow because I see that you're working then, and I'll go to Murphy's Pub tonight instead, that sort of thing, based on maybe who's working. But what I'm hopeful for is that the servers start to look at it as a sales opportunity and start getting the best tippers, the best tables, the people they like. They don't have to be amazing tippers, but they're just good people that make the night go better. They get them to sit with them on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden the shitty customers are having a harder time finding a table because everybody's waiting in line for Paige.
And they're like, what's the issue? And it's like, well, you don't know how to tip, or you're a jerk or something like that.
Right. So it kind of works itself out a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's generally what it is. There'll be like, I'm adding QR codes so that you can just, instead of telling them what your username is,
card or something.
Yeah, you can print them on the coasters. You can put it you can come up on your Apple Watch. You can have a sticker. I mean, it's a big friggin' app. The other thing, you might appreciate this. So not in this version, but in the next one, there's going to be sort of a resume builder.
Cool.
So there's no ratings, there's no stars or comments, but you can send messages and send positive messages, and you'll be able to send like kudos, which are going to turn into like tips.
I like that.
You can track all those. So then if you want to leave Olive Garden and go somewhere else, you can say, all right, I've got 748 followers. They all show up all the time. Here's 50 comments. I've been at Olive Garden for this date range. You'll keep track of all that stuff. And you can sort of export it out to a Word document that you can clean up and turn into a resume.
I like that a lot.
Because I think servers are shitty at resumes from everything I've noticed.
So bad.
Yeah.
I earn bartender friends that I have. They're like, can you look over my resume? Because that's all I do all day now. Like, can you do my resume? Cool. Resume? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting for you to see, and see what it looks like when one's done. Yeah.
I would say one suggestion.
Yeah.
I don't know on it, but if they could put like the drink that, like, bartender wise, like the drink they're good at or famous for, like someone's really good at making an espresso martini and you really want an espresso tonight. Yeah. Something like that. Or like someone's really good at making a Manhattan.
I love that. So I think so tell me what you think about this, because I have had there's a bunch of thoughts around that, because like one of the things that set me off early on this journey was like, I sat with Peyton Manning's private server from St. Elmo's, and I was like, dude, what? That's amazing. Put that on a resume. That's really cool. So like, I think everybody has a thing, whether it's they make a great drink, they have a story to tell. There's even like, my boy has a peanut allergy. So like, whenever I go out, there's a few servers I've noticed that have peanut allergies, and I feel safer, I'll tell them and they'll be like, oh yeah, if I can eat it, he can eat it. I got you. So like things that servers can do to separate themselves and sell themselves, right?
Again, selling themselves of why you should sit with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out right now, there's a pretty healthy bio section, and then the pictures. There'll be stories in the next release too, but like, I'm hopeful that we can handle most of that with pictures and hashtags, and then the bio. So you can search hashtags and things. So if you want a Manhattan, you search Manhattan within your zone, and you can see the servers that pop up that have hashtag Manhattan. So I love that idea. That's awesome.
I think it's a great idea. And then people can like rate, like if someone's like selling themselves, like I make great martini and that actually is terrible.
Yeah.
You can thumbs down or something. So you can know that.
Yeah. The only thing I'm trying to not have any like negativity because so many people only put negative stuff, but you could two things. You could message them and tell them they need to work on it, which is kind and candorous, which a lot of people won't do. But like my main thing is like, now you don't like that dude's Manhattan, and you don't want to go there. You don't have to. Maybe the dude had a bad day.
Yeah.
You never know. He
True.
could his girlfriend could have just dumped him and he was
Yeah.
a little upset. So I don't know. I love the idea though of like being able to stand out for whatever reason.
Yeah. Because like if
Um,
I like to hike and I like doing this, but like you should come sit with me because I do have a peanut allergy, or I
yeah,
also have 3 kids, or I
right.
make a great martini, or I used to be Paid Man's like personal server, like a reason that separates you.
Totally. Van lifer like Dakota, like,
Yeah.
if he saw that somebody was a van person or whatever, and he would
Like hell
probably be
yeah.
all, yeah, let's go sit
Yeah,
with them and we'll swap stories. Maybe I'll learn something. Um,
exactly.
I think like my hope is that it sort of takes a little bit of the power back from, because as a server, the management wants you in there at a certain time and you got to tip half your money away and you're just sort of screwed, kind of like you're like a commodity, very replaceable.
Exactly. But they've also realized now that they're not.
Well,
Servers.
yeah, now especially, yeah. Yeah. Well, and now imagine too, if you've got like, if you have 3,000 followers on there, we know the reason this place is packed on Wednesday. It's because they're
Yeah,
coming in to see you, and maybe we get you a bigger section and we get you some help, or we figure
exactly.
out a way to compensate you differently or something like that. So
Exactly.
I'm excited to maybe hopefully disrupt the industry a little bit.
I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a great idea. I think it's nothing that we've seen before. I think servers and
Cool.
bartenders are gonna love it because it's also, you don't have to just keep telling people I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, and next week I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and my kid's on fall break, and so I can't work this week, and it gets monotonous of having to just
It's
send out your
brutal.
schedule instead of just like, here, just check this app and you can figure it out.
Yeah. And do you think too that like, especially as a female, giving your Instagram or your phone number to somebody so they could text to figure it's a shit show, right?
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Just yeah. There's no.
That could have been on the story. That could have been on the story earlier about shitty customers, it sounds like.
Oh boy, yeah. I've ran into a lot of creeps, a lot of crazy people, a lot of Instagram messages. So at one point,
Let's
I think I had like, so I called it Facebook limbo is what I call it. All the
yeah.
Facebook that I don't accept. So at one point I think I counted because I was like, I'm gonna count how many people are in here, and there was like
Oh
495,
my gosh. Are you
and it was
serious?
all dudes. And then you look at their
Right.
mutual, just all females in the industry.
Oh my goodness.
Yep,
Yeah. Facebook Purgatory is what I've been calling it. I like limbo. That's good.
I like that.
That was a conscious discussion between Dakota and I to make sure we developed something that was like a way you could leave certain people in purgatory in this too. So if some creep follows you, you don't have to accept it. You can
Yeah,
block them, that sort of thing, so they can't see your schedule,
I like that.
and know when you're working. And you could report them similar to Instagram. We'll see how I think at some point people could try and be fake servers since you can tip through the app.
Yeah,
So I'm sure I'm gonna have to deal with that nonsense at some point, but
but yeah, that's not the main focus right now. But I like the accept or deny. I like somebody, because you do have those creepos that know you're there every Wednesday and still show up, and you got to kick
yeah,
them out, stop touching you, and it's yeah,
that's sketchy.
it definitely gets rough. It makes it'll feel make I can't even talk today. Make female servers feel safer.
I think so. Yeah. That's a big part of it too. I think being able to like keep this work, this work life in a work life bucket
Mhm.
and control it as best you can. They still may try and show up every Wednesday, but at least it's another thing that's been blocked. There's communication that's tracked and logged. There's all this kind
Yeah,
of stuff that's in there. And
they're not
so
gonna.
like, exactly. Yeah. So that's good. That's been something that it wasn't in my mind day one, but pretty quickly we realized like, this is a great way to help keep females mainly, but people safe in general, when they're at their job to the best you can.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, anything else? You got any other ideas, feedback, questions?
I don't think so. I think it's a super cool app. I think it's fucking rad. I
Thanks.
think nothing like anyone else has had before, and it's going to for sure make waves. So are you gonna just trial it out in indie first and then try to go bigger? What's the plan kind of?
Yeah, I would say I probably have 50 to 100 indie folks that are willing to try it. I've had this idea for a long time, so I've talked to a lot of people about it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna do that, but I'm not gonna wait too long. I'm gonna go fuck it up real quick. I've got big plans for it. So we've identified maybe 20 cities, and they're mainly just cities I like to go to.
So Dallas, Vegas.
Yep, Nashville, Scottsdale. You can guess every one of them, I'm sure. And
Chicago.
so we've developed like marketing plans for all those. And that's what Dakota's spent the last 6 months just making content, getting ready to release it. So we've got a couple hundred videos ready to roll, and I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Within the amount of people that people in the industry here know from other cities, it's not going to be hard to find one or a couple core people in each city to start spreading the word.
Yeah, I'm hopeful too that some of the like meme accounts, like, and a handful of influencers that I've been reaching out to, some of them trying to create a relationship. And so like, you know, if I can get a few people with, you know, 10, 20, 30,000, some of those meme accounts have 100,000.
Yeah.
Pay them whatever their fee is. I'm sure they all got a fee these days, but as long as it works, hopefully it'll. And then the servers sell it for me. My favorite quote so far, I was in the B-dubs up at 116th and Oleo. Nice. And there was this lady in there, and I said, do you think, you know, I was just kind of being, you know, trying to be off-putting about it, not too pushy, right? Like, do you think if it worked just fine, would you tell maybe 1 or 2 people a week? And she was like, oh, baby, I'll tell 5 people a night if this thing even works halfway. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Yes.
Those are my favorites that just are like, listen, babe, like, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was like, I got you. But she was like, I got a Facebook group. I got people that I got to text. She was like, I even downloaded fucking Snapchat the other night. I don't even know what this is. She was like, I have no business on Snapchat. I was like, awesome. That's great.
I know about like indie service industry Facebook group, which like there's like 4,000 of us in there.
That's awesome.
So that would be like, I think it's the indie service industry. I think that's the name of it.
I need to search service industry, because I think I've been searching like bartenders and waitress, or servers, bartenders.
I would do service. The indie service industry has, I think, like 5,000. Also, there's a foodie group.
Yeah, I like that.
That's got like 10,000 people at least in it. And people just send recommendations of restaurants and food.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm stoked for the food truck folks too, because it can, like, since it's got geolocation, when they're parked somewhere crazy, people will know.
That's why I follow the bearded bagel trucks. It's so fucking good. And they keep posting. They're like, sorry guys, we just have been so busy, we haven't been able to tell you where we're at. Or like, they just don't have the time to keep posting on Facebook or Instagram every single day of where they're at.
Yeah, interesting. I have to think that through, if there's a way to automatically do it based on just where their phone is.
Usually they get their schedule ahead of time of where they're supposed to be weekly, I would say, because a lot of them do like the Fisher's Freedom Festival, or they'll do the Fortville fireworks or something like that, so they know ahead of time where they're going to be. So usually I feel like they at least know like a week or 2 in advance.
Yeah, that would definitely work. I think there's got to be a way, though, at least the technology's there in the app for it to just do my location today, you know?
Yeah.
That's sort of thing.
Most of them have like the Apple checkout things that you could use. So I feel like they could just download it on that, or a lot of them use iPads.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I've got it just to have. I have like 5 phones and 2 iPads here, so I can test everything. It's like friggin' NASA in here. It's amazing.
I'm sure Apple loves you.
They do. I am literally their best customer.
You're there every day, like, hello.
Every day. I just bought I bought yesterday or 2 days ago my 11th Apple TV and a special TV that will go up and down. Who knew the rest of the TVs in the world, they really won't, you can turn it this way, but the TV doesn't know that the content needs to go that way. Samsung makes a special one. So we'll get that.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I'll put it in my office. So when I'm doing these in person, I can bring it up and you can cast
Actually
the phone.
look at it like a phone. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll look right. Cause right now it's like in the middle of my 55-inch screen. It looks ridiculous.
It looks weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been awesome.
Yeah, of course.
This is
no
wonderful.
problem.
If you think any content. I did. Yeah. The dog is a smash hit. That's wonderful. Lady will be the star.
She knows.
I know.
She knows too. She'll start her modeling career.
We will make sure that we say we helped her get her start.